welcome to QI, where tonight we're cantering through the whole kit and caboodle. It's a catch-all that can cover anything and anyone, including the wild expanse of Ross Noble. The far reaches of Noel Fielding. The sweeping vistas of Colin Lane. The frozen wastes of Alan Davies. So, catch my attention if you can. Ross goes. Noel goes. Colin goes. And Alan goes.
Stephen! Stephen! I want the point!
Now, in case anybody's wondering, because he hasn't done that much television in Britain, we found Colin in Australia. Colin, in 1994, you won the Perrier Award, didn't you? For
Yes.
comedy at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Yes.
Which is an incredibly distinguished award to win, as... I know.
You haven't won the Perrier Award, Stephen?
Yes, I did win it, yes.
Oh, you did?
I was my group was the first to win it, ever. Yeah.
The first?
As it happens, yeah. But I wonder who you beat in 1994. Who came second?
There are a few other nominees. I think the main competition came from a little fellow... his name was Alan Davies. Alan Davies, yes.
And then I went to Melbourne and I stayed at Colin's house and he put the Perrier Award on the bedside table. I had to look in the loft for it.
And the Perrier Award, Alan, was like a piece of wood with like a silver Perrier bottle on top with a little cap on it that kind of just fell off a couple of days after we got it. And the award for Best Newcomer was a lovely... Really? That was you? That was you! That's a trophy, isn't it? It's like a sort of big oblong perspex with the shape of a Perrier bottle made out of bubbles inside it. It's really nice.
I gave it to my mum, yeah.
Anyway, it's enough inspecting our own bottoms. It's embarrassing. So, suggest, if you may, some uses of kitty litter that don't involve a kitty. Oh. I've got some kitty litter.
Anyone could use it for absorbing their urine, couldn't they?
Well, you could use it in the same way that a kitty would use it, yeah, because it does soak up.
Can you? Like, when you drop your phone in the loo, you're supposed to put it in a tub of rice to get the moisture out.
Indeed.
Can you do that with cat litter?
There's an episode of Elementary which is based on that very fact.
There's an episode of Jonathan Crete where I weed in some cat litter. The character Jonathan.
Let's work backwards as to how that could possibly be a plotline that you peed.
I just got trapped in the cellar for ages and I needed a wee.
Oh, it's fair enough.
When you're at school, when people throw up, then they put cat... I don't know if it's...
That's a good thing to do, that. Exactly, anything like that.
I used to have this sort of weird brown sand.
Yeah, and they say there's nothing to see here, but there is, isn't there?
Yes.
It's really good.
There's a lot to see.
Also, I would draw a chalk line around it like it had died.
The scene of the body.
The skill was to make it in the shape of a dead body.
Like a mammal. A raccoon has died.
It's always a bit of fun to put it in a sugar bowl so that when somebody adds it to their tea, tea's gone.
Probably the most profitable use, bizarrely, was by the American tobacco industry. Can you imagine why that might be? There's a tax on tobacco, obviously. There was a tax on small cigars, and American tobacco companies...
Filters in filters?
They bulked up their small cigars to become big cigars. Using, amongst other things, the ingredients of cat litter, which is disgusting. That's a big cigar.
I think that's someone's leg.
Yes.
Eaten someone.
That is enormous.
I think they bulked that one up too much.
That's a normal-sized cigar, I think, but she's just a very small woman.
They apparently reduced their tax take on tobacco by over $1 billion this way, by bumping small cigars into the big cigar category.
But unfortunately, a lot of cats left up weed on their faces. I'm going to celebrate the deal.
Why did they choose kitty litter as
it was because it's a kind of neutral stuff that burns, that doesn't really taste of anything unpleasant, and is cheap, and it isn't tobacco, so it doesn't have a tax on it.
What about just some soil? Maybe that would be cheaper than
The trouble with the soil is it wouldn't burn, and it would taste unpleasant.
What about air?
Yeah.
It's a foot pump.
Well, there's still some helium, so that you just have your cigar, and you don't have to hold it, you just take your hand away, just floats there like that, and then you can just go back to it.
And then you go, this is a lovely cigar. It's enormous.
So it's highly flammable. So basically, if a
It's
kitten...
not highly flammable. You can just burn it like tobacco.
It doesn't go...
It's probably apocryphal. But there's a story about Churchill, or if you're American, about Clarence Darrow, the famous lawyer. You remember Scopes' monkey trial? He was the great lawyer who defended the teacher who was teaching evolution.
I can see why Winston Churchill is so angry. He's the Prime Minister, and he's got a cigar with a dent in it. That's
from where a small kitten landed on it.
yes.
And then let it off.
But they had a trick, supposedly, which withdrew people's attention from what they were saying and made them agree with them. And that was they would stick a needle or long pin into their cigar lengthways, which has the effect of keeping the ash from falling. And so at meetings, people would just stare at their cigars and they would say things like, we shall not give independence to India. And they go, yes, fine, absolutely, agree with you. Because they just couldn't take in what was being said. It's a very brilliant strategy.
It was like just now when you said monkey trial. I couldn't hear anything else you were saying. Just imagining a trial with monkeys.
The monkey judge.
Like guerrilla warfare. Gorillas.
It's true.
None of the information going in, just imagining...
Or a kangaroo court.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very, very confusing. But there are other uses for kitty litter. A small jar of clean litter in the fridge will get rid of unwanted smells.
Will it? With the lid off?
Well, yes. You seal it in a vacuum.
People would put it in with the lid on, you know that. Not me.
Kitty litter.
I know, the lid off. But other people, they would put it in and say, the fridge still stinks, right? You've got to help people.
Kitty litter doesn't come with a lid.
It doesn't come in a jar either, does it? You brought the jar up.
No, you put it in a jar from the sack.
Yes, but not with the lid on.
All right. Pointlessly, I will concede you that.
Does it have to be a jar?
It doesn't. It could be a mug or a teacup.
A saucer, a simple saucer.
Some sort of vessel or receptacle.
As long as
warn the cats,
you've
though,
got to
haven't
be very careful not to use the vegetable tray, because if you fill that full of kitty litter, very confusing.
Yes. You can put a cupful of litter in a pair of tights. Bear with me. Tie off the top and leave it in your shoes overnight for freshness. There's a hint, yes. Someone's going to try that in the audience. Someone's got a teenage son with smelly trainers. Trainers?
Is that what we're
What are you doing to me? I said trainers.
I've got to put some tights in my shoes. Kitty litter in them.
Oh, yeah, he's laughing now. Any minute now, I'll go... so when you see the male ballet dancers in their tights, is that what the... Is that what's going on there?
Yeah.
They're lifting and go... It may be fresh. Go on, love, smell that. Eat your dinner off that. So I'm not eating my dinner off that. Yeah, I got it out the fridge 20 minutes ago. There's a jar down there.
Yeah, the point is, the last thing that kitty litter needs is a kitty, really. You can use it for so many other things. Name the product which put Kendall on the map.
Oh.
I'm being pointed at.
Let's do it one letter at a time.
Yeah.
I love saying that word as well. Those words together.
You do?
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Anyone who doesn't
Kendall
know where
mint
all
cake.
mashed potatoes-
What?
There was a mint cake which went up Everest to the conquering of Everest, and Scott took on
Very
the...
high sugar. It's good for giving you energy when you're up a
It's rather
mountain.
delicious, actually.
I see.
But it's not what put Kendall on the map, as it were. Kendall became famous for another product. And it's actually extraordinary. It's a machine that was built in 1750 and is possibly the oldest still-working machine in the world. It's still producing the same stuff now. It was actually built to make gunpowder. But quite early on in its life, it was schlepped down to Kendall by ass or donkey, and then started to make what it still makes to this day, which is of the same consistency as
Sherbet dip.
gunpowder. Sherbet dip.
That map's only of any use, really, if you're driving to Kendal.
If you get...
Absolutely right.
not much use for anything else. And even then, it's pretty vague.
I used to sell those maps, and people would come in and go, I'm going to Birmingham, and I'd go, oh, no, you can't.
Yeah, I've only got a Kendall map.
Do you use it in the home?
We nowadays very rarely use it. It was the most popular form of delivery of this drug up until about 1900.
Nicotine?
Nicotine is the right answer. How is nicotine most delivered? Snuff. Kendall has a snuff mill that has been going since 1750 and still produces snuff.
Ah, the old Kendal snuff mill.
The old Kendall snuff mill.
I think I knew that.
I have some snuff for you to try in different flavours. You can see whether the lid is lying or not. These special QI lids. You can take it if you want. You obviously inhale it up the nose.
You do it all, right?
Oh. You get the snuff. Don't do it all, no. It's very sharp. It is. It's sharp. Oh, you're licking it. moustache. It is quite sharp. You have, what's your flavour say?
It says Christmas pudding.
You got Christmas pudding?
The only time...
Ross
Right,
Noble.
honestly, it's fine. It's good. Put it in your eyes.
This is probably the only time my nan's going to watch me on telly, and I'll be like that the whole day.
What do you reckon, Colin?
Oh, that is the flavour says kitty litter. That is awful.
You're not a fan?
I'm not a fan. It says champagne.
Yeah, they're different. There's so many, I mean, hundreds, thousands of different flavours, or sorts, as they're called. What does it say on the lid, Daniel?
Flavour?
Yeah.
Jealousy.
Like Calvin Klein.
Whiskey and honey.
Whiskey and honey?
Yeah.
Does it take... yeah, yours,
No, not
Ross,
really.
when you've come down...
I can't see. I can't see anything. Who's talking to me?
Your flavour's madness.
It says peanut butter.
No, it says Perrier.
Oh, does it?
Perrier smells of victory. The problem is it makes your snot brown, so there's snuff handkerchiefs, which are brown silk handkerchiefs or dark-coloured silk handkerchiefs. But that will really, you'll see, you'll get a... It'll look as if you've wiped your arse, I'm afraid.
From here, looks like the Turin shroud.
I can see the face of our Lord.
You know it's snuffy. Oh!
Exactly.
He's shattered his hanky!
Even though they know.
Your eyeball comes out in the way.
What are the advantages, if I can put it that way, of taking snuff instead of smoking?
Well, there's no smoky stinking in it.
It's
It's very
lung
self-contained.
cancer, emphysema, heart disease are very unlikely.
Not bothering other people so much.
It doesn't bother other people.
Doesn't make your clothes smell.
Doesn't make
but
your
it
clothes-
will
in fact, it could be
definitely
perfumed.
rot inside your nose, your sinuses, and
Nasopharyngeal-
It affects the way you talk as well.
Yeah, well, there is that. It does slightly increase your chances of nasopharyngeal cancer. But
Oh,
only
great!
slightly.
Thanks very much.
Not one pinch, I promise. It is, of course, necessary for me at this point not to recommend snuff or any other tobacco product.
Is that Little Mix?
I don't want to alarm anyone, but the one at the top left is me.
It is! Oh, my goodness. There's no doubting it. Members of Parliament, you may be pleased to know, get a free ration of snuff. There's a big snuff box kept in Parliament for them. But a Freedom of Information inquiry showed that one box lasts 2 years and costs £6, so it's hardly an expensive scandal.
They've been bulking that out with cat litter, surely.
Do you-
This will last you 2 years, this will.
Anyway, Snuff said about Kendall, why isn't a tiny woman in your snuff box wearing any pants? There's a picture in the lid of your snuff box.
Wow. I think the snuff's kicked in.
I've only got a headshot.
Well, it's only a headshot,
Yeah,
but
I've only got-
as it happens, she wouldn't be wearing any
I've
pants.
got a full...
Have you?
You've got a liar.
I've taken her face and arranged the snuff so it looks like she's a bearded lady.
Like that magnetic thing with the iron filings. I used to love that.
Pants as in undergarments, those sort of pants?
Well, it's a woman who was probably, you could regard as almost the first celebrity in a strange sort of way, in as much as she wasn't an aristocrat, a politician, an artist, a warrior. She had no accomplishment whatsoever.
Katie Price.
Basically, she was... That's quite extraordinary. She was an 18th century courtesan, which is not a word we use anymore. So she really rose to fame in the mid-18th century when she fell off her horse in St James's Park, and it was revealed to the astonished onlookers...
Going commando.
She was going commando. She had no underwear. There is a picture which is slightly overdone, but it's an example of how
You're missing
famous...
the crucial aspect as well.
Somewhat.
That's what going commando is. No pants.
No pants.
Yeah.
Kitty Fisher, such was her name.
Kitty Fisher?
Kitty Fisher. She went to commando, and she exploited it enormously. And there were snuff boxes produced with pictures of her in them, and...
Muff boxes?
And there were watches called montre lubrique, lubricious watches, which used the clockwork to show her doing rather pornographical things in a sort of like a sort of automaton kind of thing, a little movement.
Oh, God, you wouldn't want the grandfather clock with a pendulum version, would you?
She led a sensationally
I don't even know why that's funny.
Just don't overthink it. No. That's my approach to life.
Her life was sensationally dissolute. Casanova describes a moment where she ate a 1,000 guinea note with butter spread on it. And 1,000 guineas in those days could buy you, an
kingdom of
estate.
England.
It could buy you a country house with servants, and I mean, it's staggering.
So she was an idiot.
Just incredibly carefree, I suppose you'd describe it as. She had portraits painted of her by Reynolds, the great portraitist of his day, and she apparently...
The one in the middle doesn't really look
No, that
The one in the middle looks like Alan Sugar.
These are...
I started with nothing.
I've taken my wealth and I've swallowed it. I'll tell you what, you're going to get down on your knees and you're going to wait for that note to come out. Is that why she didn't have the knickers on? She was waiting for the... She was just waiting for... That's all it was.
There it is, there it is!
Here it comes. I can see the Queen's face.
Oh, it's gone back in again.
It was a king in the mid-80s.
Oh, was it a king?
Yes. So, anyway, Reynolds, these are not examples of paintings of her, but she got through so many lovers that he had to keep all the paintings he did of her, because the man would say, I'm in love with Kitty, I wanted to do a painting of her, and about halfway through, she was onto a new man. She was an
So he
extraordinary
made a
woman.
flick book, essentially.
Basically, a flick book of pictures of her. Yeah, she was pretty extraordinary. Perhaps the first celeb. But like some modern celebs, she sometimes forgot to wear any pants. Name some features you really don't want in a submarine.
Holes.
You do have holes for torpedoes and for getting...
Oh, I thought I was onto a winner there.
Is it patio doors?
That's certainly one you probably... You could do without.
Yes.
It's not you really don't want. There's a class of British submarine. I think we're seeing the interior of it there.
Gas, you don't want gases in there, odours.
Absolutely, and there was, in fact, an occasion when gases...
Ah, I've got it. Bouncy castle.
That's fine.
Bang! Bang!
that really is.
A trampoline.
Well, we have to stick to our letter, and we're in the First World War.
Kennels.
There was a K-class submarine in the First World War. It was British, and it was...
Oh, it was entirely soluble. That's right. They didn't realise they built it in a dry dock and they went, this is going to be a winner. Oh, no!
It's made out of Barocca.
It's ages to go.
When the hideous
All the
bright...
U-boats went, that is fizzing onto horizon. Set the cost for the big orange thing fizzing into the distance.
It was known as the Calamity class because it was such a disaster. Almost everything about it was wrong,
It didn't
really.
sink. It wouldn't go under the water.
Well,
it wouldn't come up again.
There were only 18 built. 6 were sunk in accidents. Only one ever engaged an enemy vessel hit it amidships with a torpedo, but the torpedo didn't go off. The key problem is that the sub had to be able to keep up with the convoy of surface vessels, and it couldn't go fast enough, really. It needed a steam engine in order to go that fast. So it was a steam engine submarine, which meant it needed funnels. Yes.
A really long funnel.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, when they found out when they tried to manoeuvre, seawater poured down the funnels and put the boilers out.
No shit.
Yeah. You didn't really think they would have...
Could you hear it coming? Because instead of it going... They'd go... It sounded like a phone going off. Hello? This type of phone won't be invented for several years.
That's just
For the future!
K1 manoeuvred to avoid a sudden turn by the leader of the flotilla, the HMS Blonde, rather wonderfully named.
The K9 was a floating dog.
Yeah, yes. She flooded her boilers and lost engine power. So sister sub K4 piled into her, seawater poured in, and the point you made, it reacted with the batteries and produced clouds of chlorine gas.
Oh, God.
And the crew, which was 56 men...
Wrote a letter of complaint. Sternly worded.
They had to be transferred to the Blonde, which then sunk the K1 with gunfire, so it wouldn't fall into enemy hands, because obviously the Germans would want to copy it.
I think they should have given it to the
I don't
Germans.
think they were just... I don't think that was why they were sinking it. They were just actually blow the shit out.
Yeah, they were just so annoyed with it. It was also 339 feet long and could only dive to 200 feet in depth, which meant it would have its tail poking up, which was really stupid.
Easier to just get inside a whale.
Basically would. It basically would. So, moving on now, we have some kits. What would you use these kits for?
Window cleaning.
It's the first one. Well, no, they go together.
Scratching a window and then cleaning it.
This has a very specific ecological purpose, rather
Is that a
bizarrely.
wire wall brush affair?
It's a scourer. It's a pan scourer, which you get from your average high street pan scourer shop.
No one's ever held a scourer like that. Come and do the dishes.
It's a scouring superhero. By the power of scour! The man on the right doesn't really need the extended squeegee. A little more effort, I think he could have got to the top. But I get the extension out. Oh!
We're in a world of ecology.
Right.
We're in a world of the second largest fish in the world, in fact.
Oh, is it getting the barnacles off of a wheel? Is it that?
Fish.
Yes, there's a special
Chapter
wheel.
1, line 1.
Whoa.
Whales are
Hang
not
on,
fish.
no, I didn't finish. They train fish, they put scourers on the backs of fish, and they have them swim up to whales, which we all know aren't fish, and then take the barnacles off smart arse.
Yeah!
Do you know
Very good wriggle. Very good
They
wriggle.
won't come
or
off.
a
That's not how you
shark?
get barnacles off of whales is with sarcasm.
The second largest fish in the world is...
Is it a big squid?
Fish.
A jellyfish?
A fish.
Great white.
Basking.
Basking shark!
For the last time, I'm
I want
basking
points!
in your dreams. There it is, with its rather wonderful mouth opener.
Whoa!
Isn't that
I've got a
fabulous?
coat hanger stuck in my mouth! Help me! There's a coat hanger in my mouth! I'm overboard!
It's a beautiful animal, and
Not really.
unfortunately, it's hunted to the verge of extinction. So we need to know a lot about them because they're so in danger. And to take a core of their DNA is difficult. You need to sort of... It's like tagging them. So what they've come up with...
Is that one being examined now? Is that why he's got his mouth open?
Say, No, what you do is you get a window cleaning rod, you shove a pan scour on the end, and you scrape off the slime from each particular one, which has got its DNA, and you send it to the University of Aberdeen, where it's marked, and then you check its progress by marking other ones.
Can you not just use the head of the hammerhead, because it's the same shape?
Except that it's a different species. It's not the one you're trying to...
No, but I'm saying it's like a squeegee. It's the same shape.
You get an octopus to hold it, like...
you train one?
A hammerhead.
You train an octopus to keep still, and the octopus holds it,
The
like...
hammerhead.
Forgive me for being so stupid. I should have guessed what you meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it makes such zoological sense.
It comes up under the shark, scrapes along its underside.
Yeah.
Occasionally, do they swallow it slightly smaller? Like Russian dolls, there's 19 in it.
It's a lovely thought. Yeah, it's a couple. Graham Hall and his wife,
Is that the
Jackie.
name of that shark?
No.
Graham Hall. It's not quite as frightening when you say, quick, there's a Graham! There's a Graham!
Graham Hall and his wife Jackie from the Isle of Man go out into the Arctic Sea and scrape basking sharks with pan scourers and send the DNA to Aberdeen. And it's been jolly useful. It's jolly useful.
Would anybody like to know how you know that you're being followed by a gay shark?
Yeah, go on.
How do you know you're being followed by a gay shark? No. That's very good. I like that.
And here's another kit. What's that? It's luminous pins and reels of cotton. What would they be used for?
Sewing in the dark.
That would certainly...
Disco nanas? He's popular. Yeah. That's all that when, you know, when John Travolta was doing that?
Yes.
He had wool around that
It was part of the kit of a man called Dr. Eric Dingwall.
one. Oh.
Dr. Eric Dingwall specialised in exposing something. Not his own Dingwall, but
The wall of his ding.
fake mediums. In other words, fakes. People who pretend that dead people
Is it
speak.
to do with Ouija boards or anything?
Yeah, there are people who pretend, quite wrongly, that dead people can speak, which they can't. They're dead. No, they won't talk to you. They're dead. But there are people, a class of fraud, and I'm saying this directly into camera. You are a fraud if you are you are fraudulent.
Hang on. My granddad says, shut your face.
Dr. Eric Dingwall cunningly used
Stop it,
thread.
Grandad, stop it!
It's quite weird because we look like we're in a sale.
Yes, you do.
You always look like you're in the same.
Let's be honest.
I'm getting a basking shark.
What's that? You were touched inappropriately by a man called Graham.
I knew someone whose husband passed away.
Yep.
And went to see a medium, and the medium said, "Don't. Your husband is fine. He's with your father." And she said, "My father's still alive." And she then said something along the lines of, "Not for long," or something. In an attempt to dig her way out of it.
Yeah.
Massively worse.
That's it.
And she still gave me the 40 quid at the end.
No, it is extraordinary. Anyway, no, Eric Dingwall specialised in exposing mediums, and he would tie thread to their legs so that he could feel what their bodies were doing in the dark. He would also attach luminous pins to them. So again, when it was dark, you could see where they were moving and what they were doing, what machinery they were operating, what tricks they were up to.
Looking at that picture, it looks to me like there are probably too many hands. I haven't counted. I feel like there are too many, don't you?
Yeah. I think those hands are on the table, aren't they? They're part of the table.
The arms round, and then you just get a pair.
None of those people in that room have got hands. They're all like,
trying to contact the dead, but that girl looks dead. She does.
I think I might have got off with her about 4 years ago. I was going to say, club in Camden.
I just got that goth look. Isn't that you in drag?
I've seen you with that amount of goth makeup on. I have to say, Noel, that is definitely a very you look. So, what comes flat-packed and takes 4 months to assemble?
IKEA dining table. No.
I'm afraid. Sorry, Lino.
Is it going to be something enormous, like a space shuttle or something like that?
Well, it was jolly big, and it was modular, and it was genius. It was in the 1850s in Britain. It was war.
What was it in France?
We weren't at war with France, amazingly, in the 1850s.
No, I meant France and a flat pack.
Flat pack enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
Simply erect your own enemy in only 4 months.
It wasn't that. With whom were we at war in the 1850s?
Well, down in the Crimea?
The Crimea. It was the Crimean War, and who was the most famous figure, really, apart from, I suppose, Raglan and Cardigan? Florence, as you rightly said, knighting, as you pointed out, Gale. And there she is.
Flat pack Florence. Flat pack
No, she was furious at the conditions. She thought they were dreadful, and she demanded of the British Army that they produce a proper hospital. And so the finest engineer of his day, possibly the finest engineer who ever lived, designed in just 6 days a modular flat-pack hospital.
Wow.
Which was sent over. Isambard Kingdom, as you rightly said, Brune, as you pointed out, L.
When they set it up, we went, it's a school. We've got the wrong one. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's a dance hall, you idiot.
They set it up and there was a piece missing. They had to take it back.
Yeah, exactly. We can actually see a picture of there they are. And what was brilliant is you could add to them. So it started off with one which fitted about 500, it ended up with 1,000 patients.
What, in that?
No, you added another module. That's the point. When he was 36, Brunel was doing a party trick for his children, and he nearly choked on a half-sovereign coin. But it stayed in his throat.
And 40 years?
For quite some time. And they had to do a tracheotomy. They had to cut his throat so he could breathe. And they tried pulling it out with forceps.
Oh, God.
And that didn't work, so he designed his own rack on which he would go upside down, and they then slapped him very hard on the back for a while, and eventually it came out.
He should have just dropped his trousers and pull his arm down there.
He needs some money for a phone call or something.
Well, he was just showing a trick where a coin disappeared, presumably he put it in his mouth.
It was a hell of a trick, because when the coin went in, it didn't have his face on it.
So, on the subject of flat pack, and IKEA, which you mentioned, Colin,
yes.
Can you give me within 5 years when the flat pack was invented for the purposes of furniture? I will...
IKEA flat?
Yeah.
1980...
No, hopeless. No. 56.
That was my second guess.
Take the pen out of your lips. Thank you. No, 1956. There is Mr. IKEA, whatever his name is, the founder of the company.
Ian Kevin Edward Aldershot.
Oh, there's an Ian Kevin Edward Aldershot by amazing coincidence in the audience. That's Ingvar Kamprad, the founder of the IK bit. Ingvar Kamprad.
Who was Ian Aldershot, then?
That was you who raised Aldershot. Don't look at me. But it was one of his employees, one of their first salesmen, Gillis Lundgren.
He accidentally fell on a table. Oh, shit!
No, he took the leg...
He said, don't worry, it's a flat pack. I've done it on purpose.
Well, almost. He took the legs off in order to transport it in a car, and then had a sort of light bulb moment. He thought, oh, that's rather good. We could sell it that way. Put all the bloody work in the hands of the people who buy it.
I've got an IKEA table of chairs. It's lasted me 21 years.
Really? Colour me impressed. Yeah. That's very good. Where is the world's largest branch of IKEA?
Wembley.
No.
Australia?
Yes. Which city? You'll be annoyed.
Sydney?
Yes, Sydney.
Sydney.
Yes. As a Melbourner, you'll be...
Great Sydney.
Yes, he's
lovely people.
Clenched teeth. I've never seen
lovely
clenched
people.
teeth. Charming. Absolutely. Yes, the world's largest is said to be in Sydney.
I was actually... I went and did some gigs there in Sydney, and I played the Opera House, and I was in the Opera House doing some press, and I looked out the window thinking, where's the Opera House? Actually scanning the horizon.
Did you do this?
Where's the Opera House gone? Oh, you're in it, you idiot.
You should have gone at this, you should have gone...
It's so refreshing that the biggest IKEA is in Sydney, because whenever there's something big in Australia, we say it's the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yes. In fact, it probably isn't the biggest in the world. I suspect it is the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere.
It's
like, you go to a hotel and they go, it's the biggest swimming pool in the Southern Hemisphere.
The IKEA in Sydney is the biggest in Sydney.
Yes, this is that.
The best whatever is in... Have you been to Narendra? Where they've got the Southern Hemisphere's second largest playable guitar. Oh! We've got the world's biggest guitar. No, it's not.
playable guitar. Southern Hemisphere's... They've what? The Southern Hemisphere's second largest playable guitar.
And you can see the sign's been crossed out.
So, moving on. Now it's time for a bit of general ignorance, so fingers on buzzers, please. What was a Roman soldier's salary?
Wine, prostitutes.
The outfit, just the outfit.
Audience?
40 quid a week.
Sold. Oh, dear. There's a joy in trapping the audience there. Yes, it's true that the word derives from the Latin for salt, but it is never true that they were paid in salt. The money would go towards the buying of salt, but also towards the buying of their uniform, the buying of almost everything else, because a bit like British officers, they have to buy everything themselves out of their salary, but they were never paid in salt.
We're getting paid in salt, though, aren't we?
You're getting paid in salt. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Kitty litter.
And kitty litter. Yeah, the Romans, in fact, planted vineyards, as you may know, in parts of Britain. So here's a question. Where does British wine come from?
Somerset.
Somerset? No.
Kent.
No.
Kendall.
Kent? No. Which country does it come from?
France.
Might do. The point is, British wine is made from grape concentrate, which comes from abroad. Whereas English wine is proper English wine from English vineyards. And so English wine gets a very bad reputation because people have tried British wine and think it's the same, and it isn't. Just to big it up for
That's
English
not
wine.
uncommon, though, for when the French have a lot of wine,
Oh,
they
yeah.
would ship tankers of it down to Australia, for example, and they'd use
they?
it. Because people stopped buying French wine because they didn't understand it.
That's the problem, because it didn't have the varietal
They were great
labelling.
ones. Of course, here we just have dry or sweet.
Yeah, that's what
Which is an improvement on your old definition, which was just red or white.
Red or
Yes,
white.
right. Or pink.
Warm or hot. Yeah.
We've come...
Good or shit.
We've made giant
In a
strides.
box or in a bottle.
Yeah.
But the weird thing
Ooh,
is...
bottle, fancy.
Flat. He's flat.
Oh, look, he's a bit up
He's
himself.
got a corkscrew.
Well, the point is, British wine, unfortunately, has besmirched the good name of English
It's a
wine.
very good sparkling one that won a big prize. It beat
did.
all the French ones. They didn't like it.
No, there are over 400 vineyards in Britain now, and maybe global warming will see an increase in that. Certainly in Roman days, in the medieval warm period, as it's called, wine was commonly made there. So, anyway, English wine comes from England, but British wine can come from anywhere. And now, this is where it gets scary. I'm going to try and impress you with my martial arts skills.
Really?
Karate. Let's break stuff with our bare hands. We're going to begin with you. You should have a piece of paper and a ruler.
Yes.
And what I want you to do is put the ruler on the table, 2/3 of the way, something like that, and put the paper on top of it. Like so. Not wholly over it. Leave the bit out. That's it. Yeah, Colin's got it right. Thank
Yes.
you, Colin.
Okay.
All right. Now, without putting your hand over the paper,
how he got that award.
simply karate chop and break the piece of wood, because the air pressure over the paper will act as a... You think that can't be possible. So, Colin, you try.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh!
Isn't that surprising? Who would have thought? Who would have...
And I didn't believe you, so I
know.
really put my shoulder into it.
Yeah, you have to. Nice bit of follow through.
Yeah.
Alan, you have a go. Yeah, well, it is in half, you can see, but it slipped out, unfortunately. Go on, Ross. Is it in half? All right, now. Yeah! Very good. It's very surprising.
Feels good, though, doesn't it?
Feels good.
I feel like Bruce Lee.
Now,
for that
I...
4 seconds.
What I'm going to do is I've got 3 bricks here. And it is...
It's like the first ever game of Jenga.
It is. Wow. OK. Yeah.
It's Kendall mint cake.
OK. Oh, God. I have to focus my energy. I know it's all right, it sounds... But I have to focus. I have to go through. I have to... Oh, God. So nervous now. Give me that mold. Last time I got mold. OK, but even more. I got another load here, and this time, in theory...
You're going to do it with your penis?
In theory here, ow. So choose top, middle or bottom.
Middle.
Oh, no. OK, I'll try and break just the middle
I
then.
bet you Chuck Norris is crapping himself.
I'm going to try and break just the middle one. Again, this takes extreme focus and extreme pain. Go through it. I just don't want to do
You
this.
don't want to do it again.
Thank you. Oh.
can't believe I put my hood on in case there were shards.
What, shards of his splintering wrist come through?
Kendall Mink cave.
The truth is, there's no mystique to karate chopping bricks, just good old physics, and in our case, to be honest, trick bricks. So don't try and do it at home. I'm still very strong and hench and butch, though. But anyway, it must be time for the scores, and it is fantastic. In first place, wow, with a +4, is Ross Noble!
Yeah!
The Nobel Prize! In second place, with a +1, Noel Fielding! It's incredible. In third place, with -6, Alan Davis! And certainly worth the airfare. In fourth place, with -9, it's Colin Lane. But in last place, with -10, the audience! And it only remains for me to thank Noel, Ross, Colin and Alan. Whatever you do, keep your kit on. Good night.